Olin, good morning. How are you?
I'm good, guys. How are you? It's Victory Monday. I'm
Yes.
doing good this morning. The Bears pulled one out yesterday. We talked a lot in the pregame show about it seemed like the plan wasn't working. By that I mean the way the team was built for one day against the Rams, a depleted Rams team, obviously, but for one day the plan looked like it worked. Right? It looked like the guy you signed to make plays, Montez Sweat, causes a fumble. Keenan Allen draws penalties. Swift runs the ball. Coach Eberflus does a nice job keeping the Rams and Coach McVay out of the end zone, and you walk away with a victory.
Olin, did you ever have a play where you lined up at fullback and made room for the running back? And were you jealous of Doug Kramer yesterday?
Yes, I was. I was jealous when Doug got to get back there. I never got to do that. I was usually the guy snapping the ball, so I never got to line up at fullback. But it was fun to see him, and obviously everybody knows his story. He's from Illinois. He played at Illinois. See him playing fullback, and I heard you guys say it's called the mini fridge.
That was fun.
But it's a good play, right? It's a good play. Last week we talked about Darnell Wright missing that block against the Colts. A lot of people talked about that. They got stuffed there, but they run behind the big guy again. They got Mercedes Lewis next to him. Nate Davis is in the game because of Tevin Jenkins' injury. Doug Kramer in the backfield. Roshan Johnson, and we're just going to come downhill at you and stick this ball in the end zone. After we just talked about on a 3rd and 9, Keenan Allen, we talked about how important it was to get him back, draws a penalty on the Rams defense, right? So get you to the 1-yard line, having all your receivers there. Talked a lot about that room being the strength of their team. Showed up a little bit yesterday, how the Rams had to play them with all those guys on the field.
Yeah, I thought that it was really interesting that it's almost as if they listened. I don't know if they listened to the leadership committee. I don't know that they listened to the complaints from fans, the media, whatever, but it's almost like they heard what everyone was saying about their failure to run, and they sought balance and they found balance. And it was, what we talked in the pregame when Blasingame was eligible but not active. I thought, wow, I know the guy doesn't usually like a fullback, but I guess they're just going to do their thing, and they don't care about. Next thing you know, they bring out Doug Kramer, and as you say, you see the guy, and it helps. It's just it is more of a power running game than we've seen from them, and I know that's just 2 of the plays. But I thought they, used Swift quite a bit. They got a touchdown from him. They got a field goal because he had a real nice catch on a screen pass. I just thought they did some of the things that people were complaining about.
Yeah, it was an honor in yesterday's pregame show to talk to the legendary Hall of Famer Jimbo Covert, right? He told us that when you play tackle, when you're struggling with pass blocking, the best thing to do is run the ball downhill. Get the big guys moving downhill, get them moving forward. Now, it did take the Bears a little while to get warmed up on offense, right? But, come out of the second half, like you're talking about, Mully, we've been talking about, well, who is the backup to Blasingame? If he is important, why don't you have a backup at fullback so you can run those packages, those concepts? They moved Cole Kmet back there yesterday in the second half, came out with him at fullback to start the second half, ran a few plays, ran kind of what they called a bend, and he was the lead back there. Then they checked down to him, come out of backfield on play action pass. Credit to Cole Kmet. Showed a lot of versatility, I thought, yesterday to get that offense going, to get that offense into concepts that could work for them. And then Swift is an interesting running back, right? At the end of the half, with a minute left, the Bears get the ball back and they get a field goal out of that, right? Caleb Williams hits Swift on a screen, checks down to Swift. Avoids a sack, misses a couple balls to Odunze and DJ Moore. It's an interesting drive to watch, actually. But if you look at Swift there, I'm thinking about, man, I wonder, some guys you say you got to get the running back lathered up. I wonder if that's how you get Swift lathered up in the pass game. And then it seemed through that momentum seemed to carry into the run game. And we talked about how Coach Waldron is still kind of learning his players, what gets them going, how to get them involved in a game. It seemed like that drive, guys, the screen, and he actually outran the offensive lineman for a big gain there. But the screen got him going. The check down got him going. got him lathered up, and then he started running the ball downhill a little more, making guys miss and making plays.
How concerted do you think the effort was to minimize or limit what you did offensively for Caleb Williams, and maybe give him less and expect more in terms of efficiency? They protected the football, but I'm thinking specifically of, like, last week we railed about 9 straight offensive snaps out of the shotgun and in short yardage situations. Yesterday it seemed, without going back and counting them, but I think of the 54 snaps, a lot of them seemed like he was behind center, especially in short yardage situations. How big of a difference do you think that made in him being able to manage the game? And what are your thoughts on just what they're giving him to do in terms of processing and calling out protections? And it seems like he's doing a lot of talking at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, interesting when you take a really positive look at what he was doing. And you can say the same thing about Matthew Stafford, right? When you watch their game plan, a lot of under center runs, a lot of play action passes off of that. Strangely, a lot of times that works, right? A lot of times that is really what gets you moving downhill. When you have, the Rams also have their $17 million Jonah Jackson left guard out, and their starting center is out, Avila. So you kind of saw the same game plans on both sides of the ball. And Matthew Stafford's a very good quarterback, gets you in and out of plays, a lot of communication there, a lot of checks, a lot of kills, they call it, where, is this a run or pass look? It will have a run called, but if they give us a good pass look, we'll kill to the pass. We'll have a pass call. If they give us a good run look, we'll kill to the run. But when you look at what Caleb is trying to do at the line of scrimmage, and a lot of these pre-snap penalties, trying to use a snap count, I think the Chicago Bears, actually the older guys, are trying to get used to him, because when you have a high-level quarterback, they're trying to control the tempo of the game with their snap count. They're trying to control it by getting to the line of scrimmage. Like you see Aaron Rodgers go on 2 and try to draw guys off sides, right? He's doing a lot of that, David, like you talked about. He's doing a lot of communicating at the line of scrimmage. Sometimes it looks like he looks at the sideline. He made like a diamond signal to the sideline there in the red zone, and lined up in diamond on the numbers. So I think he actually told Coach Waldron what he wanted to run there. Now he missed DJ Moore, not missed, but the Rams guarded DJ Moore pretty good one-on-one there on the left side of the field. But it's just interesting to watch this young quarterback grow. They did what they had to do to beat the Rams there, like you're talking about, and he is taking his checkdowns. And credit to him, he's trying to play smart football. As Strahan pointed out at halftime, he does hold the ball a little too long sometimes in that pocket. But some of those sacks, I think he's taking them when they're in field goal range. He doesn't want to make a big mistake. I think Coach Eberflus, we all know what coaching tree he's from. Takeaways, right? And don't give the ball to them, and you'll usually find a way to win the game.
It is awful to see 10 penalties in a game, and 5 of them are pre-snap penalties, Olin. I don't know. It's one thing to be like very positive and excessively positive about, hopeful, whatever way you want to term it. But don't you have to kind of, and I hope privately that there's, really, that's coaching, man. You cannot let that, you have to have a standard, and you can't let people have 10 penalties in a game.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like you're saying privately, right? Lovey was like that. A lot of people said Lovey didn't yell, Lovey didn't get mad at us. But, man, I used to hear you guys say it, and I think, guys, I swear he just yelled at me. He just was not happy with something I did in the game. So, like you're saying, Coach Eberflus, maybe in public, is not saying what he's telling these guys, Williams jumping off sides at the end of the first quarter yesterday, when all they're going to do is try to pull you off sides, right? Or Cole Kmet jumping off sides late in that game when you're trying to run the clock out with the lead, getting a false start. Darnell Wright not lining up correctly when they're emphasizing that this year. Just a lot of false starts, a lot of penalties that you don't like to see, right? Even if you talk about Brisker's personal foul early in the game, even Braxton Jones' big physical hit there on the screen they try to run, but everyone knows that's a penalty now. Now, I'm not saying I probably wouldn't have took that shot myself. I might have. So I'd be in trouble. That'd be one of the mornings that Lovey wouldn't have been happy with me taking a shot on somebody there. But like you're talking about, Lovey, like you're talking about Mully, a lot to clean up. A lot to clean up for the Chicago Bears. Take the win. A lot of good in that game, but like every week. But if you can find ways to win games when you have that many penalties and that many things go against you, that's also a positive. This morning, obviously, it's Victory Monday, so happy about the win. But when you get to what happened yesterday, how do we win the game? What do we have to correct when we have to beat better teams that are not so decimated by injuries? Obviously, those kind of penalties, you're not going to get away with them with the top teams in the league.
This segment with Olin Kreutz sponsored by Fireplace and Chimney Authority. Visit online or their Elmhurst and Lisle showrooms. Okay, Olin, so Mercedes Lewis was given a game ball for his longevity. I think he set a record for tight ends. It's his 19th season. And a lot was made about the way the big dog talked during a meeting with Shane Waldron and the Leadership Council, to the point where Shane Waldron opened his Thursday press conference thanking the Leadership Council for granting him the audience with them. And I'm just curious what you thought. They did everything but transcribe that meeting. We knew everything that was said during that meeting. What did you think of that meeting, and was it cause effect with what we saw yesterday?
I very interested by that, and they if it works for them, it works for them, David. Right? I mean, they talked about. I think DJ Moore talked about after the game how much it meant to hold people accountable. I don't know why it takes a week 4 to hold guys accountable. I don't know if you want to admit to the fact that you have to ask your coaches to hold you accountable. Now, Mercedes Lewis, and the best thing that happens in an NFL locker room is that when the players take ownership of what's going on, take ownership of the problems on the field, and get guys moving in the right direction, and insist that guys do the right things. Now, it's funny, right? Because they won the game, and so you'll say, okay, that meeting worked, but we just talked about the penalties, right? And they got to take ownership of that too, hold each other accountable, not have false starts. But to be honest, David, a little worried about a meeting like that. A little worried about our offensive coordinator. Now, we do win yesterday, but when I hear that you have to be asked, it's like if you have a job and someone has to ask you to do your job. So, we'll be watching these things. They are telling us that there was a good meeting and they got a lot out of it. And I just take their word for it after a win, right? After you watch them win a game, it was good. It was good to see them with all their weapons on the field. They are, when you look at the plan, and they, on that 36-yard run, right? DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Roma Dunze, Cole Kmet, and Swift are on the field. The Rams give them what they call a light box. By that I mean they give you as many defenders as you have blockers. Why? Because those guys on the outside scare you. So having Keenan Allen back helped yesterday. If that meeting helped them, by all means, I'm glad that they got a win yesterday. But as far as asking a coach to hold you accountable, it comes off a little strange to me.
This segment with Olin Kreutz is sponsored by Plumbers 911. Plumbing emergency, call the plumbing professionals, available 24/7 at 1-833-PLUM-911. All right, so DJ Moore I'm not Mr. Body Language. I'm not following everything. He sat by himself at the end of the bench, and he walked off by himself at halftime, and he did not seem to be overly excited by everything that happened in the game. Now, he caught 3 of the 6 passes thrown his way. Other than Swift, that's as many passes as anyone was targeted with. He had 3 catches for 22 yards and a touchdown. But I was asking David this morning, and we're going to talk to him a little bit later. Why are so many short passes going his way? Why can't they get him down the field? Why can't they throw to him in situations where he's not on like a bubble screen or a little quick out, or what? The usage of him is kind of infuriating. He came into the game 72nd among receivers, among 91 receivers, averaging 7.5 yards per route that he's running. Don't you have to get your best offensive player down the field a little bit?
Yeah, you do. And I think that at halftime was that little miscommunication between him and Caleb there in the end zone, where it looked like DJ slowed down, or I don't know what they were doing that route, and Caleb threw it. DJ Moore thought he was going to throw it somewhere, and Caleb threw it in the end zone, and it just didn't connect. Even then, it looked like there was a chance there, right, to get a touchdown before that field goal. So, and I think there was also the one same thing happened with Roma Dunze. I think he threw the ball out of bounds, and
Right.
there was a call that could have been a holding call there, but it wasn't a holding call. I don't think he would have caught that ball anyway. But to the bigger point of what you're saying is, with Coach Shane Waldron is, again, like we talked about DeAndre Swift, right? Does he get lathered up more through the pass game that helps him run the ball better? Same thing with DJ Moore, right? I think Waldron is trying to learn, and so is Caleb. What DJ Moore does well, how to use them, how exactly to use them with all their weapons. First game, we talked about Keenan Allen's back again. I think there's just a lot of moving parts in here, guys, even with the offensive line, with Tevin Jenkins going out, right, and Pryor moving to left guard, and Nate Davis coming back in. This thing is constantly evolving. Maybe they'll have another meeting, right? Maybe they could have another meeting about DJ Moore and how to use him and how to get him involved in the game, because we all know what kind of player DJ Moore is. And look, he was frustrated at the end of the first half. So were we all watching this offense again, trying to get going, trying to get moving, trying to find concepts that work for each other. They know what kind of player he is. He knows what kind of player he is. A good question for him would be, how much extra work is him and Caleb putting in after practice, before practice, in the building, to get to learn each other so they're on the same page? Because really what you want there between a quarterback and a wide receiver like DJ Moore, guys, you want a little freestyling. By that I mean Caleb looks at DJ Moore without saying a word. DJ Moore knows exactly what he wants, what route he wants, what little adjustment he wants, when to speed up, when to slow down, those kind of things. I think they'll grow into that kind of combination. Those two guys with the talent they got. I think eventually, remember now, we're only in week 4 here, right? Bears are 2-2. I think eventually they'll grow that relationship. It'll grow into that. And obviously the coaching staff and everyone has to help put all those things together.
Good stuff, Olin. This is a good meeting.
Yes, it was a good meeting. And I always have that problem. People tell me I never tell them what I think.
I'm glad you're honest with us.
Thanks, Olin.
How about that punter, by the way? How great was that guy?
Yeah, man.
On,
I tell you what, that
field.
66-yard punt, that was something. And I never thought I would see a punter flex, and I'd be flexing with him. You know what I mean? He was flexing, and I was on my couch flexing with him. But yes, when they took – that's what I'm saying, guys. It's a game where you can see Ryan Pose's plan, right? Yes. Like that's what we talked about in pregame. You're like, gosh, I just don't – the offensive line plan doesn't look right.
Yeah.
Right? I still see your plan. But this one, the punter
If Brad Maynard ever would have flexed in front of you, you would have been having another meeting. Another kind of meeting.
No. Maynard was my golf partner.
Okay.
Now, Maynard hit the hell out of the golf ball. So, yes, Maynard, a good player. That group, right? Maynard, Manley, and Robbie Gold. I'm a big fan of special teams helping you win games.
That's true. Great stuff,
Devin
Olin.
Hester. I'm sorry. Don't forget the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Devin Hester. All right, Olin. Thanks, buddy.
All right, guys. Dave Tobe. Okay, thank you, guys.
Dave Tobe. There